This is me, and I want to talk about my trade that I did yesterday, today. Um, I won't say yesterday was a undisciplined trade, but it was more of um, a bit of patience. But I could have done better when it came to discipline. Um, uh, but ticker symbol TOTH Hoff. Um, it was on my scanner, and market opened like first before all that. The float on the stock was 25, roughly 25, 22, 23 million, which is pretty high. Um, but just looking at the way this chart was trending, it looked like, and it was holding its gains, and I'll get into that, but it looked like it was really a low float. Um, I can recall looking at the SEC filings, and I remember seeing something, I think something positive. This is the next day. I don't really remember everything that happened. Today's a 12, so there was a 424B. I must have just jumped into this trade, or I didn't look at the SEC filings well enough. Um, but looking at this stock now, if I don't recall seeing a 424B, but um, maybe there was, and I just didn't look at the SEC filings. Um, um, but it's surprising me now. Um, I must have not looked at the SEC filings, or they released this 424B right after I was done trading it. Um, and I don't even think there's any shares available to short um, this stock. Yeah, no shares available to short it, at least on IB. But um, I will say this before I explain this trade. I did better with patience, but not so much with discipline. So my mindset going into this trade was I really need to make a positive trade. It was sort of like revenge trading, where I was thinking, um, uh, my mindset was I need to make back this $2,500 that I had lost. I was down. I was down 20. I was down. I'll say 19 or 21. One of them. I was down about 19 hundred for the month, and I'm like, I need to make this back. I keep making 500, losing 500, making 500, losing 500. Then I'll lose 200, 200, 200, and then make it back. Um, and in this trade, my mindset was, man, okay, this looks like although it doesn't say it's a low flow, it looks like a low flow. Um, uh, uh, I'm hoping that this just pushes up and gives me a really big gain. Um, and that wasn't the case, and that was actually the wrong mindset um, going into this trade. Where am I? Okay, going into this trade. So market opened. I let it do its thing. I'm like, I'm gonna wait for the 9:45 to 10 a.m. dip and rip, and I'm gonna get in. So market open, it spiked, pulled back, spiked again, pulled back. Um, I thought it was just trying to make up its mind. Um, I thought it was trying to go up, but um, they're probably dumping shares, or it was just a really choppy trend. And I'm like, you know what? Let me give it some patience. Um, the yearly chart looked like this, uh, which is really choppy. and um, honestly, I didn't like it, but uh, I'm like maybe maybe this can go. I think this can go because it was near at the time. It looks like this now, but at the time it was near the yearly highs. I'm like maybe this can break the yearly highs and just go break this high, and then probably easily break this high and go. And that was the mindset on this trade. And excuse me. Yeah, that was the mindset on this trade. And I'm like, okay, wait for the 945 dipping rate. Just wait, just be patient. So 945 hits. I see that it held lower day because lower day right here was a 141, 141, and then before, like right when I got in, it held 141, 141, or 140, 143, 141, 141, 141. So it held. So I'm like, okay, it's 945. It's holding, and it's about to break. So I got in real quick, and I got in with everything I had. I had like a $5,000 account or $6,000 account. I don't have much, so I have to go all in order to make a substantial amount. And my goal is not to make a substantial amount, but it has to. I'm trying to make it reasonable. Making a 200, 100, 200, $300 gain on something that probably can run big. You know, I probably can make my expectation was it's moving like a low float. Well, it wasn't really moving like a low float, but just the way it was moving here. Uh, if this can squeeze, um, just the way it was moving the first 15 minutes, if it can squeeze, it probably can, run up a good 50 cents to a dollar. So I don't want to get in small or get in like a few thousand shares and don't get in my full account, which is a small account with a small and not make much. So when you have a small account, many times you got to go all in because you know you're not going to make much anyway. And if you do make much, I mean, you just got to get in big. I mean, you have to get in all in at times because you only stand to make a few $100s if you're lucky, 500 to 1,000. So yeah, I went all in. Um, uh, um, and I thought it was gonna, continue uptrending. It held just like what's his name? Tim Bowen has taught in his ebook that um, it holds. If it holds that lower day and then it starts testing VWAP, give it some time, and then it's gonna perk up and keep going. And that's what I did. And I understand that when it hits VWAP, it's not gonna go up perfectly, and I was okay with that. So it started uptrending. Then it had this big pullback. It ended up breaking lower day at by what 1 penny, but it still made me uncomfortable. And I was like, it just dropped suddenly, and I was like, okay, what do I do here? I know when it pushes up to VWAP or gets near VWAP, it's not either near or around, above or under or at VWAP. It's not going to trade perfectly. It's going to be a little choppy because people are going to be selling, people are going to be buying. We're all like anxious and on our P's and Q's because we don't know if it's going to push up higher. And that was the mindset on this at VWAP, and that's how I traded it. And I'm giving it time, and it got past VWAP, and I was like, okay, good shit, yay. And I'm like, okay, it has to pass this point at 51. It has to pass this point at 148, which it did, but now it's 51. And then if we can break this higher day, that'll be perfect. And then if we can break um, pre-market highs, that'd be even better. And in my head, I'm also telling myself I'm not going for home runs anymore. I'm going for singles. So I'm looking for 5 to 10% gain. So my average is um, 145. We'll call it 146. Um, I'm looking for a 14 to 15 cent gain. I'm looking for um, a 7 to 8 cent gain, all the way to 14 to 15 cent gain. Um, and that would have been, whatever number that would have been. So um, that would have been, you know, we'll call it 15 cent times the 4,000 shares that I had. That would have been a $600 gain. That's a big one right there. Um, that's a good gain right there. But I honestly thought this could go up to 50 cents to a dollar. And uh, then I'm just being patient, giving this time, and it just pulls back. And this pullback was like, okay, just give it time. And then this pullback, I'm like, if this pulls back a little too hard, it's gonna start dumping because everybody's just skittish about it. You got to be skeptical, and everybody's skeptical. I can see it in the charts and the way you have these wicks, especially in the yearly chart. You can see it, but it's like, I was giving this time, but I was more of, I really need this trade to work. I really need this trade to work, and that's what messed me up. Um, and when it didn't work, and I was ready to get out, the mindset of I need this trade to work, which is the wrong mindset, um, kept me in longer, and I took this loss. Um, and um, it pulled back pretty hard, broke low a day, broke this low of 140, and pulled back, and it went down to 136, and I was like, God damn! And I was down like probably like $400 or $500, and I was just really upset. And I got a little emotional. I ain't gonna lie, but I had to catch myself, and I asked myself, okay, let's be reasonable. What can I do here? Like, what's the logical thing to do here? And the logical thing was, okay, it pulled back, and it doesn't look like it's just gonna keep dumping. So let's give this more time. It's 9:52. I'm looking. Sometimes it starts bouncing um, at, and doing a dip and rip at 10 o'clock. So you know, give it more time. Just give it more time. Let's see if it's gonna go. And it started bouncing and bouncing, and it got to a high of 144. My average was 146. So I'm like, okay, I'm not down so much. Let me give this more time. And at 10 o'clock, you gotta cut. If it doesn't go by 10 o'clock, or just a little bit after 10 o'clock, get out. And I was patient. I gave this as much time as I could, and it got to 144 again, and it just dumped, and it broke uh, this lower day, and it passed my 10 o'clock mark, and I was like, I gotta get out, and I got out. Uh, this this was I was patient enough to wait for the 945, and I was still trading this logical. And I think this was a good loss. Although it was bigger than what I wanted, it was a good loss because originally I planned to cut risk at the low of day here, and my plans changed, but it was still part of my strategy. And the thing is, like, I got to figure out how to like balance that. Where it's like, yes, this is part of my strategy. This is where I plan to get out, but the 945 dip and rip failed. I should be getting out, but I'm still worried about the 10 o'clock. And I got to figure out a way to balance that where it's like, okay, if 945 failed, I just got to get out and try again at a lower point. But because I only have one shot, because I have a cash account, and I don't want to wait. I only got one shot, and I went all in. um, I was a little, I was like stuck in the mindset of I need to make this money and I need this trade to work because I'm like I don't get a second shot, and those are things that were hurting me in this trade. Uh, but uh, eventually, I was disciplined enough to actually cut when my entire plan was just not destroyed but didn't work, and I got out. And I took a bigger loss, and I got out at 135, right under lower day, which was, I think this was a good trade. Honestly, the discipline was good. It was just not part of the original plan. Um, but I took I took a $500 loss, and that really made me upset and depressed. I was depressed for the whole day. I try to stay like normally when I take a big loss and I'm stressed out, I take a big nap or I take a nap, and I try not to take a nap, but I ended up taking one anyway, and I took like a 45-minute nap and got back up and you know excuse me, got to being active. Um, but yeah, I made I made what did I make? How much did I make? I made I got my loss, but I was disciplined enough to get out. It ended up bouncing real quick, and I could have gotten out at like damn near break even, but it's okay, you know. Um, I'm taking my loss, I'm moving on, and it just kept fading for the rest of the day, and you know, I was just depressed all day and just down all day, and even to the today it dropped even lower. So I'm so glad um, that I got out when at my second risk or second yeah my second stop. But I'm glad I wasn't um, doing what I did before, where I held on all day, holding and hoping. This trade right here was never a hold and hope situation. Um, Although it felt like a hold and hope, um, yeah, at some points it felt like a hold and hope because I was hoping that this would go up, and I was hoping that this would go up, and at this point it would go up, and I was in the wrong mindset, but I didn't perform it in the as a hold and hope where I held all day and was just hoping that this would go up. I was never in that situation, and I'm proud of myself. I really am, and I think the 424B was announced after I traded this because I don't recall seeing a 424B at all. But then maybe I was wrong, but I don't recall seeing a 424B at all. And that's probably why this stock is continuing to fade because um, you know they got a 424B now. But I think I traded this better. I just got to improve on the mindset. I can't uh, be butthurt and crying that the trade didn't go my way and I only got one shot. And one thing too I want to say is I don't want to deal with PDT anymore. I like fuck it. Like I know I would be a better trader if I work my way out of PDT. Um, I will. I'll be very much a better trader. But I feel like I still can become better out of the PDT and just work my way out of it. I mean work my way out of it, but somehow get a loan and and um somehow just get a loan and just make it happen. But uh, uh, I'm starting to see that if I work my way out of it, I'll be just a really great trader. But I don't care. Like I want to be a great trader. I want to be a better trader. But it's like my expenses are kind of like influencing me, and I refuse to go back to work. Um, and this is it. You know, I'm giving everything I got here. I spent 8 years studying and practicing and learning and growing. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give up, and I'm giving everything I got. So it's like I really need this to work, but it's not gonna work. You can't force it to work. You got to just perform and study. You got to mainly study, but um I don't know, man. I just got to make this work. I gotta succeed in this. I have no choice. But I'm willing to take a loan from wherever I can and not use their money, but just use it as like a stepping stool, so I won't be over, so I can be over the PDT and trade, because I'm not going back to being homeless, and I know I can do this. I just need unlimited trades and a better opportunity, because later in the day, this stock right here, I can find it right here. After I traded this stock, after I traded Hoth, HOTH, this stock right here just ran like crazy. And if I had, if I had a fucking another shot, another more, if I wasn't under the PDT, I would have took my loss from HOTH the first time and just called it a day. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta make this money, but I got unlimited day trades, so I'm not worried about, because the main thing that influenced me and taking that loss in HOTH was the fact that this was my only shot. I had to hold a little bit longer for it to work, and many times in that situation, it actually hurts you, um, because if you hold just a little bit longer, you take a bigger loss, and that's what happened. Um, and if I wasn't in that situation, I would have cut, probably got back in Hoth, and then cut again. But this was running up, and after I was like such in a depressed state, I just stopped watching the markets, because there was no way I'm gonna get back in. I felt like there was no point of watching at this moment, because there was no way I was gonna get back in, and I needed a mental break because I was so upset. But the position I am is causing me to be even more upset. So I could have quickly just been like, whatever. I took a loss. I still got another shot, and never been in that mindset. So with this, um, I got out at 10 something. This stock wasn't up much, but I'm always watching my scanner to see what's picking up in volume and what's picking up in percentage. I don't have a scanner where it tells me what's moving a substantial percentage within 5 to 10 minutes, like Roland Wolf and Gritania has. So I gotta look. I gotta keep looking, which is okay. But eventually, I'm gonna get that scanner, and I would have saw this, and I'm like, okay, this looks like it's gonna keep going. It just broke the high. It keeps uptrending little by little. I probably would have got in with a certain risk and just roll this all the way up. It was above VWAP, so that's perfect. Um, and it just kept getting extended. Um, when I took my break and I came back and I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Um, and I just watched it, and I'm like, now would be the time to short. I was like, this is the perfect time to short. Then it dumped, and then it dumped again, and then I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this will be the perfect time to get back in. It's my bounce, and then I said, okay, um, it's bouncing, but you got to get out, and if you don't want to bounce it, wait for it to reach near high day, and then short it. And I'm like, you can short it from here, here, or here. And it was like somewhere around here, and I was like short it from here. But if it breaks, you gotta cut. Or if you're not full size, you can add from here, and you can add near high day here, near the this level here, and then trade it from there. But this is the key resistance, and I was just telling myself this, and then I was right a little bit. I wasn't all the way right, and then it just faded, but then it rebounded and held all day and kept going, pushed higher. And in pre-market, after hours, it pushed even higher, and after pre-market, it went even higher. But my whole point of this was to explain that if I had multiple shots, I could have taken one right here and made back to 500, made some more, and been straight. But like I said, PDT is a motherfucker, man. Tim Bowen says it's a stupid idea. He don't care whether you overtrade or not. PDT is a um, stupid thing, and I think so too. It should be up to you to decide whether you are gonna overtrade or not. Um, and also, it's uh, it's a discipline thing that you got to work on, and I feel like it's a way to control day traders so that they don't make too much money. Because what about the guys who are long term investors? You don't put no restriction on them. Yeah, they're not they're not like constantly in and out, but it doesn't matter. I have two options. I can't complain. Am I gonna just fucking figure something out, or am I gonna overcome the PDT? And right now, I just gotta overcome the PDT. And this shit right here, um, it's I thought it would keep going higher the next day, um, um, which it kind of did, but it ended up fading, and there's no shares available to short. Maybe tomorrow, and you can take in a short on the second red day. I don't even know if it's still. I don't even know if it's red on a day. Um, I don't even know if it's red on a day, but yeah, it's red on a day. So maybe you can take a second red day, but you got to see if they're gonna be dumping shares. But and they got to force to before be active. But man, I still think I did good on that trade. I just gotta get rid of that mindset of damn, I gotta hold this a little longer because this is my only shot. So that's it for today. I traded this yesterday on the 11th. So